My bad. Okay, well, thank you for coming. Um, I ended up, yeah, no, what ended up happening was while we were doing the setup, I muted our audio so we could talk some stuff over, and yeah, I never hit the button back. So,
Nah.
oh yeah,
Okay, so did they hear any of what you just said?
no, but I'm more than happy to repeat it.
So CJ, this topic, because Cody just went over it, but
Thank you. 10 out of 10, definitely.
listen, this topic is for you. This guy that we're about to discuss, he is your Asian brother, my dude. You're gonna love this one.
Definitely. So our first topic we want to talk about tonight is a Vietnamese man, and he was evidently suffering from alcohol poisoning. And I'm not really sure what his BAC was, but he's a 48-year-old Vietnamese man that was taken to the hospital after he passed out. Evidently, once the doctors actually got a hold of the man, he just they found out that he was going through alcohol poisoning, and they ended up having to transfuse 15 cans of beer at a rate of 1 beer per hour into the man's body just to save his life. And what was the pretty much the overall reasoning by that is there are two types of alcohol. There's ethanol and then there's methanol. Both are similar. They have the similar effects and are toxic to the body to some degree. But methanol has a slightly different chemical structure, which can help. Yeah, 15 full cans. It has a slight different chemical structure, and when it's consumed in large quantities, it can pretty much just straight up kill your liver. Um, and your liver, of course, processes everything that you take into your body and all that cool biology stuff. But yeah. So to save this man's life, a Vietnamese hospital transfused 1 beer an hour for 15 hours and straight into a man. And as far as I can see, um, as far as I can see, I don't know whether or not he was. Oh yeah, administering beer, which contains significant quantities of ethanol. So more ethanol in the bloodstream would also counteract the amount of methanol in the bloodstream. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing where they actually did this. I know that they did perform dialysis to remove the alcohol once the beer or the ethanol from the beer, rather, was in his system. So pretty much like it's not like they were just keg standing this dude in the hospital. Like they put the alcohol in there just to take the methanol levels down so this guy wouldn't die. So I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting.
So CJ, if you, for anyone actually, rather, if you was dying and the doctor's like, man, we gotta pump you with beer. What brand would you guys want? What brand would you guys want to be pumped full of to save your life if you had to? Yeah, that's a good question. How did he get that much in his system? Does it say?
Well,
That's ridiculous.
I kind of remember a little bit. I've only taken one college biology class, but from what I gather, is that everybody that drinks a whole lot, they
Budweiser.
if after they drink so much of anything, like it's easier to get this effect done whenever you whenever you get liquor into your body. So but with beer, I have no idea. This man probably was off his damn rocker before he passed out. But after so much alcohol consumption, your body naturally, well, not really naturally, but through the chemical compounds from the ethanol in the alcohol, it starts naturally creating methanol. Because if I'm not mistaken, they're only different by like their structure very slightly. And the way that I remember my professor explaining this to me is like this molecule he held up, ethanol, is what we drink in alcoholic beverages. And then he changed it a little bit and he said, this molecule, if you get more than a shot inside of your body, you'll die. Because it's pretty much like methanol and ethanol are both found in gasoline, but I think gasoline contains more methanol, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not
So
100% on that.
So Lordo says that he wants Budweiser to be injected into a system. CJ says Coors or Stella or Taurus. I've never heard of the second one of those. The Stella one, never actually heard of it.
Yeah,
But
I've not heard of that either.
that's Billab wants water. So Billab, you're saying that if you was dying and they're like, quick, inject this man with beer, you would just be like, let me die. You don't want them to go ahead and just start putting beer in you. Yeah, I don't know what Stella is. I'm sorry, I don't. So this guy drank himself into us. Yeah, pretty much. It's like this dude literally went so hard with the alcohol, he fucked himself up, and the doctors are like, you know what? Let's fix it by fucking him up even more.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
got this.
but then again, they pumped 15 beers, 1 beer an hour into him, but they also had him hooked up to a dialysis machine. So, really, I don't think that they didn't put the alcohol in him for him to get like a buzz. It was more like, hey, we're gonna save this man's life, just so we're gonna bring down the methanol levels, but the dialysis is gonna take it all out, pretty much.
That's insane though. That's
Yeah,
still I love how that was their solution. Like, doctor, what do we do? Quick, put more in him.
yeah.
I,
I
I
mean,
agree, Bill. But I wouldn't end up there either. I don't drink alcohol myself.
I drink alcohol. I just don't drink it. I'm not a frat boy. Honestly, I wouldn't even say that I drink socially anymore. Kind of got all that out before, you know, college, I guess.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I've never been a fan of the taste of it and stuff.
I,
But
I do, however, want to just share this very quickly. Let's see here. 1 second, guys. Bear with me.
those it's just
Um,
not made in the U.S. Personally, it's
this right here is what you're talking about. I imagine. We need to actually do this right here. Looks similar to Heineken.
yeah, it
I've
does.
never had this brand. I have had Heineken before, and personally, Heineken is the closest to piss water I've ever put in my mouth, in my opinion. But I'm
I
just not.
imagine. I,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I imagine the flavor is very different than Heineken, though.
I mean, I don't know. I just personally don't. I don't know. I don't care that much for beer. There is, however, I'm that guy. I guess. There's one craft beer that I really like, and it was Natahala Dirty Girl Blonde, and it's brewed more or less locally to where I'm at currently. Um, I'm
Moose
not.
drool.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly if it's distributed widely. I know it's distributed at least in my state, but I don't know. I personally, I'm just not a beer guy. Like here at the house, I have I have some party liquor. I have a little bit of rum. I like to make martinis personally. I like to make pomegranate martinis, and I usually make that with like regular pomegranate juice, and then I have like a Palma liquor that I put in there with the vodka. It's really good. Um, but
Of course you are.
yeah,
What are you drinking?
yeah. What are you drinking?
I like
Honestly,
how you call it. I like the name Moose drool. That's pretty funny.
yeah, definitely. I think that you know, of course, we're just starting out. This is the first classic cast that has aired. So as we move along, I think that we're gonna come into different perspectives on how we want to run the stream and everything. But coming across this idea, maybe start the stream with a different mixed drink every week.
I'm
Have a cam, just kind of shake it up and whatever. Give the ingredient list in the box below if anybody's interested. But I'm sorry, I'm just not a beer drinker. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not either. But
I could allot myself at least a mixed drink a week without feeling like an alcoholic, maybe. But
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
So
if if you guys like I personally believe. Let me check this out really quick. Why is that still there? My bad. I promise we'll get better at this. Honestly, I might just break down and get some graphics for this stuff while I'm at it. Uh, where'd it go?
Your own
Okay.
mead, dude. I've always wanted to make the stuff, even though I don't drink it. I've always like figured it could be like fun to make. I had some friends that have tried it, and I don't know, they said it was really hard and it come out really wrong. But that was also they was trying to make beer, and they bought like a kit for it.
Hmm.
So I'm not exactly sure how different it would be like making mead and stuff like that. But I'd like to make my own ale because I love ale.
I have a good friend that coincidentally he came up to college with me. He didn't live with me, but he actually came up a year after I came up. He and his roommates actually made their own mead, and if I'm not mistaken, they made like a dragon blood or a dragon berry or something like that. It was some kind of um, very berry type mead. It was, I mean, it was supposed to be fruity. I didn't actually try it. I actually forgot about it until just now, whenever that was brought up. But yeah, he did say it took forever. He had to like germinate his what is it? I can't remember the little organisms that you have to use. Yeast, I think. Yeah, he had to germinate that, and he kept on having like release it. Like he didn't have like some kind of mechanical kind of thing. He just like went up to it every so often and like released it. And dude, that shit smelled so bad. But I mean, in my opinion, it smelled pretty bad. But I think that that'd be pretty interesting. I don't know how my girlfriend would feel about me having to tend to that stuff, you know. But definitely something that I'd be interested in trying. Um, I don't know. I wonder how much a mead kit would be. What do you think, Kyle?
I am not sure. I'm sure we could figure it out, or
Yeah,
someone could find it out for us and maybe drop a link or something like that if they felt like it.
yeah. Let's see here. I'm just coming from a place called Keg Factory. Let's see, 53.99 brewing kits. Kit equipment contains a wide mouth, easy to clean 1 gallon fermenting jar. So that'd probably be a lot easier. It looks like here. Let's see here. Uh-huh. Oh, that does not help at the slightest. Anyway, if you guys can see this a little bit better than I can, it looks like it might actually let the gas escape by itself, and that'd probably be a little bit easier with the process. Um, Comes with everything you need, evidently. I mean, I don't know if this is just to get you started or if it's like um, to help you actually do your flavors that you want. Um, Ooh, Wild Spirit beer kit. See, I mean, I haven't dabbled too far into beer. Just because I don't like the domestic stuff personally. I mean, I like I said, that one craft beer. If anything, I'll just give me a mixed drink, or I mean, I don't really drink soft drinks anymore, but I used to be a rum and coke guy or a Evan Williams and coke guy, definitely. But yeah, I mean, if you guys do you guys drink mixed drinks at all?
Also, our next topic that we're going to go into here in a second after we finish up with this one right now, I've sent you the video, Cody, and I plan on us playing it on stream. Actually, it's really interesting. It involves a guy who broke into a museum to steal a hat and take a selfie with the dinosaur bones, and I thought the video was hilarious myself.
All right, we can dive on into that. You said that you shot me that link.
I did. It's in the Discord.
All right, cool. Let me pop that up. Very.
Also, all of the topics that I personally bring up, I will be leaving a link down in the chat so you guys can click on it, take a look at it on your own, or if you want to save it for later to show to other people, I will post them down below so you can grab the link that way as well.
All right, sounds good. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's see here. Is there a video accompanying it or no?
There should be a video with it, yes.
Okay, so I think it's playing an ad currently. Let's see if we can get this video to play. All right, let's see here. All righty, looking good, looking good. Let's see. Let me know if this audio is a little too loud for you.
Yeah, let us know how the audio is.
I don't even hear anything personally in my headphones. 25. Caught on camera taking a selfie next to a dinosaur. Why would you do this? Was this during quarantine?
Yeah, apparently so. This is happen like this apparently happened. I'm not exactly sure where it said
He
it
was
in
in
the
there for about 40 minutes.
Oh,
He's
let's see
article.
it.
wandered through
Yeah,
some of the
he's just
internal
like
areas,
take a
checked
quick
some
selfie
lockers
with
and
it. He
doors.
stole a hat.
He's
Hold on one second.
Thankfully he didn't actually break anything.
Oh, like it actually started playing some audio here. Is the police?
he was in there for about 40 minutes. He's wandered through some of the internal areas, checked some lockers and doors. He's taken some selfies with some of the displays. He's also stolen a hat and a picture off the wall, and eventually left there, walking up William Street. And yeah, he certainly enjoyed his night at the museum.
Not at the museum. It's a pretty funny way to think about that.
Smart
oh no,
Girls
Smart Girls.
is
I
a
don't need to
robot.
hear about that.
So apparently this happened in Australia, and the guy who done it was a German student. So
Yeah, I mean,
I guess he was studying, overseas or whatever. And yeah, that's pretty interesting.
let's see if I can find more on the topic really quick. Let's see. Yeah, police in Sydney, Australia, have charged a German student with breaking into a museum that has been closed since August 2019 for renovation. So what I was thinking is maybe he was like, man, I really want to get in there. This Corona stuff has happened for way too long. I don't know when this museum's gonna open, but no, this thing's been closed for, I mean, what, 2 months shy of being a year, 3 months shy of being a year. It's pretty crazy if you ask me. I mean, I don't think. I mean, maybe for the shock factor. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, just let me know if there's any audio issues. Well, with that video specifically, there was just like the video itself just didn't have any audio for over half of the video.
So any of you guys in chat, any of you ever go to museums or like to go to them or been to one or anything of the sort? Or is that not your cup of tea? Or what's your opinions on them?
Have you ever been to a museum yourself, Kyle?
I have actually. I went to the Smithsonian in DC. I went to the aeronautics, I think it was. We went to that one, and I'm trying to think. We went to like 3 or 4 different ones when I was in DC. It was pretty neat.
I wish I would have went to one in New York, Billab, myself. I was actually only in New York for like 2 days, but I was in Lower Manhattan. But I've been to the Smithsonian in D.C. as well, and the Air and Space. I think that are those two different things.
I'm not entirely sure. I don't think so.
Uh,
I just said aeronautics, but I'm pretty sure it's the air and space one.
Yeah, and then I've been to the Science Center, of course, around Charlotte, NC, and then the one in Hickory as well, which is is that the Science Center as well?
I believe so.
Yeah, I've been to those two. I remember. Well, okay, so let me rephrase that. That's just broadly speaking museums. I've been to a Titanic museum around Pigeon Forge. Me and one of my good friends and our significant others had like a Valentine's Day getaway thing last year, and there's a Titanic thing around Pigeon Forge that we checked out, and around Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, there are well, I mean, it's pretty much an aquarium, but really an aquarium is pretty much like a museum for fish, but also they had like other exhibits that weren't just wildlife and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Have you ever been to any of the ones up there, Billab? And what kind of museum like was it? Was it a specific one, Lordo, or like was it just like they had just a bunch of different stuff all throughout it?
It's definitely interesting to go to museums. I wouldn't mind to go to some more myself.
Oh, I love going into them and seeing. So Billab does frequent them quite a bit. You got a favorite one that you've been to? Is there one that you've went to like multiple times, or you only go to them once?
Personally, if I could go to one museum in the world right now. Well, maybe not right now because you'll catch the Rona, but I'd really like to go to the Louvre.
Oh,
But
that's really cool. I like museums that have like a bunch of different stuff inside of them. Like when I went to the Smithsonian, there was so much different. There was so many different ones that they had them like split up, different buildings that you could go into.
yeah, yeah, that's really cool. I think the one thing that I really like about museums that have this kind of stuff are the interactive exhibits. So, for example, the Titanic museum that I went to in Pigeon Forge, they had the ending room. Well, first of all, it was an audio museum. So, like, you had this headset, you went through it, you heard all this stuff, and it was pretty cool. You hit the buttons, you looked at all this cool stuff on the wall. But at the end, or the second to last room, if I recall, um, it looked like you were looking off the port of the actual Titanic before it sank. Like you walked through the, I mean, I guess it's not atomically correct or whatever, but you walked through the captain's quarters or the like where the wheel is and everything, where all the navigation stuff is, and then you walked out onto the deck, and they had it set up to where it looked like you were looking out into the ocean at night. There was a big iceberg ahead of you. The moon was, lit and everything. You could put your hand in the water. It was fucking freezing. You don't. Oh man.
I've always wanted to visit a Titanic one. Titanic, that'd be really interesting.
Yeah. And another thing that I really wanted to do, which isn't really a museum, but I think is kind of like it's historic. I love history personally. Um, I've never really dove into history, like local history, as much as I thought that I should. Like personally, we live in North Carolina, and there's a lot of steep history that happened around North Carolina, and I never would have known any of that until I visited actually Tennessee. Evidently, the Hatfield and McCoys. And then there's some other family type feud stuff that happened, but those in particular they happened on the Tennessee North Carolina line, and we actually was going to go check that. It's like a dinner and a show thing, like kind of like showing you what happened. I don't know if it's gonna be, um, I don't know if it was legitimate or anything, but it would be pretty interesting to know that kind of stuff. I don't know. My history teacher this past semester got pretty rock hard talking about North Carolina history.
Dude, I love history myself. It's always been something really interesting to, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Switching gears for just a moment, actually. Well, I mean, I guess not switching that much, but actually, in South Korea, get this: the consensual age for sex in South Korea was 13 years old. Recently, as in a week or so ago, they've raised that to 16. So to me, that's still way too low. But I just don't know how the hell it was 13 to begin with. But then again, I guess like me and you were actually talking about this, and evidently there's a lot of like Asian countries that have low ages of consent. Was that right? Was that what I remember you telling me?
Yeah, yes, it was. The laws that surrounded it was they're kind of bouncy sort of ish, but like
Mm-hmm.
generally speaking, it was I believe 13 in a few different places. So it going up is always a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I agree. I definitely think that's still a bit too low,
Yeah.
and I imagine that. But I also I don't know. I imagine their mindset in other countries like that is a lot different than ours, and they might not necessarily see it as the problem that me and you would view it as.
Yeah, I mean, I just see it as like, what if I was a dad and like, you know,
10?
what if I was a dad and then this shit was like the thing. And wait, so 10 years old in the Philippines?
Dude, that's terrifying.
That is terrifying. Honestly, why even have an age of consent at that point?
That is, that's horrible.
So,
Ah,
So this article actually, let me rephrase that. This article came out from on the 13th of this month. It's coming at us from International Business Times. So I believe a sister company of the Times, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like it from the webpage anyway. And yeah, South Korea raises age of consent from 13 to 16. South Korea has raised the age of consent. It seeks to strengthen protection for minors following accusations the existing law on sex crimes was too weak. I mean, obviously, um, you know, okay. So here's my take on it, and of course, I'm not an expert by any means. I'll never claim to be an expert. Um, I've learned a bit about sex crimes and about the prosecution, pretty much of sex crimes, like the criminal procedure. Sex crimes is definitely a area of law that is both very strict and very loose because um, now it's kind of that middle ground, but it used to be like you had to either have concrete evidence or the person had to be willing to speak out, and if not, you couldn't really prosecute. This is just for America. I'm not sure about the South Korean procedural stuff, but definitely first of all, they believe that, or previously they believed that 13 was an age where you could give consent. Well, if I'm not mistaken, I don't even think you are like fully developed as a female, or I mean, as a female, isn't it like 18 or 19, and then a male is like 24 or something like that? I know there's a disparity. Do you know what I'm talking about, Kyle?
Not 100%, but I believe so. I
Yeah,
think, um,
I'm talking about mental growth.
yeah, that sounds about right. I'm not 100% sure though.
Yeah.
I'd have to look.
Under revised law, adults who have sex with under 16-year-olds will be prosecuted for child sexual abuse or rape, regardless of any alleged consent. Previously, teenagers aged 13 or older were held to be legally capable of consenting to sex. So, like, let's take it back for a second. So, I don't know about South Korea, but maybe like I can't remember the specific places, but I know that India and places around there, um, around the Asian continent, over there in Asia, they have this like miraculous underground market for sex trafficking. And if any of you guys are interested in hearing or reading about this type of stuff, I recommend. I've had a philosophy class this past semester that we had to read a couple excerpts from it's kind of like a essay, if you will, of just some people that traveled to different countries to talk with sex workers that were pretty much sold into that kind of stuff. It's called Half the Sky. Let's see if I can find it really quick. Uh,
Yeah, I've actually heard about that, Lordo. Also, hey, wow, you're up early, Doc. But yeah, I've heard about those. They're like
what is there?
they're
Can I
kind of
talk?
like a condom thing that they put inside of them, and then it has uh like pointy sharp things inside of it that when yeah it does stuff. Not good.
Just because I know this isn't one of our topics. It just kind of came up whenever I was talking about it, but I definitely would like to um, share this around and share this if you guys had any interest in it. Really quick, just like sex trafficking, really just to gloss over it. Millions of women are bound to sex trade. They're sold in the sex trade in developing nations because their families can't afford, money or anything like that for their other children. There's actually, I believe, a statistic where over I think it's over 100,000 or more women in developing nations are just missing, like honestly missing, because their families just give them away, and it's kind of sad. And Half the Sky definitely has a really rich story that keeps you sort of captivated. along for the ride. So if you guys are interested in any of that or wanted to share any of that literature around to anybody that would want to read it, definitely this would be a good place to start. And if you wanted to get up with me on our Discord page, I have PDFs that I could lend, quote, to you, just so, I don't get striked or sued. I don't know if they're copyright written. Honestly, I don't even know if you have to pay for them, but I did I say third world country, Kyle? I meant to say developing nation each time. I thought I did, but yeah. But regardless, I just wanted to share that little tidbit really quick, just because I think it's very important. That is kind of crazy. I never would have thought Sweden would be that high, personally. But I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, I guess anywhere can be crazy. Okay, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I try to stem away from that as well, because it really kind of puts a hierarchy on culture. Like, if you say that a country is a third world country because of some of their beliefs or customs, then really you're just kind of telling them that their culture isn't as good as yours, and I don't think that's that cool, personally. But definitely, culture ingrained in rape is not a good culture. I mean, that's just something I'm going to go ahead and say. But to lighten the mood just a little bit, I'm sorry about those grim topics, but something that you guys might really enjoy. Epic Games announces the Unreal Engine 5.
This has definitely been something that I have been interested in,
Yeah, definitely.
because Unreal Engine for gaming is a huge thing already. It's massive, and since it's been they announced it, they showed it off with the PS5 demo, and I can't wait to see what it actually is capable of doing. This is going to be huge for gaming going forward.
Definitely. And next time, just an FYI, I will splurge for some ad blocker. So I apologize about that. But let's give it a look. Just let me know how the audio is coming out.
Hello, I'm Brian Karras, Technical Director of Graphics here at Epic Games.
Hi, I'm Jerome Plateau, Art Director of the Special Project.
A few years ago, we got together as a team and brainstormed where we thought we could push forward the state-of-the-art in real-time graphics.
I don't know
There
that
were
we
two
should
key
watch all
areas
9
that
minutes
stood
of that,
out.
by the way.
Oh, definitely
The
not.
first,
I was just wanting to listen
dynamic
to him
global illumination.
explain it a little
Beautiful
bit.
bounce lighting instantaneously.
I don't have to be constrained to do a game where the world has to be static, and I'm able to iterate a lot faster.
And we call this new system Lumen. And we're about to show you what it is capable of. But first, there was another area that we thought we could push forward. Truly virtualized geometry. The artist wouldn't have to be concerned over poly counts, draw calls, or memory. We could directly use film quality assets and bring them straight into the engine.
And that's a big deal for artists. I just want to be able to import my ZBrush model, my photogrammetry scan, my CAD data, without wasting any time.
Alright, here we go. Oh, that looks really pretty.
Before we
That is
continue, let's
crazy.
stop a moment and take a look
That's
at some
so
of the
good
key
looking.
features of this demo. Much of what you see was built with Quixel Megascan assets, but instead of using the game versions, we used the cinematic
I wonder what all
versions, which
games
would
is going
typically only be
to
used in film.
implement the Unreal
There are
Engine
around
5
1 million
going forward. I know there's a
triangles
lot of
each.
games that use
And
the
thanks to
Unreal
virtual
Engine
texturing,
system now,
they
but I
all
wonder how
use
many is
8K
actually going
textures
to
as well.
adopt it, if they'll
Nanite
swap
can
over
render an
for it,
insane number
or
of triangles very quickly.
Hmm.
There are
I
over
mean-
1 billion triangles of source geometry in each frame.
Do you
that Nanite
think?
crunches down
Do you really
logically
think
to
Oh,
that?
definitely.
1 million drawn triangles. What
I
does
was
that many
reading
triangles
Lordo's
look like?
comment.
This isn't noise. These are the
Yeah.
triangles, each a different color. Most are so small that they look like noise. Nanite achieves detail down to the pixel, which means triangles are often the size of pixels. This amount of geometric detail requires shadows to be pixel accurate as well, and Nanite can do that too. Speaking of lighting, all of the lighting in this demo is completely dynamic, with the power of Lumen that even includes multi-bounce global illumination. No light maps, no baking here. Without GI, all of that beautiful lighting is gone. With Lumen enabled, we can move the light and the bounce changes instantly. Okay, let's keep going. We've made some great additions to our audio system as well. Convolution reverb allows us to measure reverberation characteristics of real spaces, like actual caves that we sampled, and reproduce them in virtual spaces. Sound field rendering allows us to record and play back spatialized audio.
I just gotta pause that for just a second. That audio, like, I mean, I don't know if you guys are listening in on any headphones, but all I'm saying is if I was playing a game and I was walking across a crevice and some rocks fell and it sounded like that, I'd probably just like stop what I was doing. My mouth would drop because that shit, like, I felt that. Like, I guess my headphones
Yeah,
might be very loud, but oh man, like, that was nice. I'm sorry for pausing it, but
yeah, it's shit.
that was tasty.
All of this adds up to a more immersive experience. This swarm of bats was created with our Niagara effects system. Particles in Niagara can now talk to one another and understand their environment like never before. We've also added a ton of new functionality to run fluid simulations like you see in the water below.
I love good fluid graphics, honestly. So here's my thing. They were talking about the Niagara particles being able to learn from each other. So, wouldn't that mean that they could make? I mean, I don't know. Would that just be particle rendering, or would they be able to turn that into better, like AI or better movement of AI, or is that just a separate thing altogether? I'm not very versed in game development.
I'm not 100% sure. We could probably ask Axel and see. That is, I'm definitely like, I 100% agree though, because demos always look way better than the actual gameplay because they can segment the game. Like they can, I guess, separate it and bubble it and clean it up and make it super, super good looking. And then when the actual game comes out, usually a lot of times, like they'll even go into the demo area that they showed off and they'll downscale it to match the rest of the world. And then you end up coming out with a way lesser product. But still, demos are really cool to see just to see like what kind of stuff they're actually playing with. But it would
Yeah.
be really nice if they could actually keep the quality of the demo for the full game.
Yeah, it would, honestly. And I mean, I feel like now with the way that we're moving towards, I feel like, we have 4K that is pretty much household now. I mean, I don't even have 4K stuff, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, I have a 4K TV, but I wish I had them in monitors, trust me. But, like, we're getting up to the 8K, and then, like, I mean, I'm not really that up to date on tech, but they might have something better by now, honestly. I mean, I remember 8K was being talked about publicly like a year ago. Like they were developing stuff, and then I believe it's out now for like certain things, but it's pretty crazy.
The demo runs on our chaos physics system. Here we are using it to accurately simulate the rigid bodies of the falling rocks and the cloth of her scarf. Now that the environment is so complex, we've needed to greatly improve our animation systems to adapt. We've added predictive foot placement and motion warping, which dynamically modifies IK and body position to look more natural. For the character to more realistically interact with the environment, we've added the ability to trigger seamless contextual animation events, like her hand on the door.
Looks promising.
I have noticed that, Lordo.
Dynamic GI is amazing, not just for speeding up iteration, but also for its impact on gameplay.
Nice.
Any light source can move while
It
still
might
having
be.
beautiful bounce lighting.
Am I the only one that wants to know the story behind this game? Like, is this chick a wizard or well, I guess not a wizard, but like a witch or something. Like this is very interesting. I got Tomb Raider vibes, and now I'm getting like I don't even know. I'm getting
Yeah,
some.
I'm kind of curious of it myself because it looks like it could be pretty fun to play.
Yeah,
I hope that like they actually do something with it, and it's not just like a demo to show off the graphics.
yeah.
Because
Let
I'd play it.
Let's watch another like 30 seconds to a minute and see what else they have, and then maybe skip ahead a little bit. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, I kind of want to see this portion. Let's see. Start it off like right here. That looks pretty.
And we can do more than a single statue. There are nearly
I've also been told that
500
when it comes
of
to
that
game
exact
development, that
statue
water is the
at
hardest
the
thing to
same
make.
detail level placed in this room, for a total of over 16 billion triangles from statues alone.
Jesus Christ. 16 billion triangles.
Over this entire demo,
for just a
there are
statue.
hundreds of billions of triangles.
Right now, I'm kind of jealous that I don't
So
have
with
a
Nanite,
PlayStation.
you have limitless geometry, and with Lumen, you have fully dynamic lighting and global illumination, all running on a PlayStation 5.
There's not much time left.
And this doesn't need to be constrained to small rooms. It can stretch all the way to the horizon.
Let me just take a look at this really quick. Make sure, yep. Wait, why am I not watching this in HD? I do apologize. Okay. Look at that horizon. Honestly, look at the lighting, the shadows right here. That is pretty crazy. Wonder what the retail is going to be for the PS5. Huh. I don't know. Honestly, I'm kind of curious myself. Have you heard anything, Kyle?
I keep hearing rumors that it's going to be the $500 mark, but obviously nobody knows anything for sure. I know at one point the PS5 was going to be $1,000, and everybody like flipped shit, and they was like, "Yeah, we'll lower the price of it," but they never said how much or to what. So I guess only time will actually tell.
Before this whole Corona stuff, they were set to come out holiday season, right? Like 2020.
Yeah, this year it's supposed to be around Christmas time, but I don't know if we'll actually end up getting that or not.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty crazy. You think we should go through some more of this, or what do you think, Kyle?
I think we can play a few more, maybe another like 15 seconds of it. We'll go to the 8-minute mark and then we'll swap topics.
The portal, it's open. Don't fail me now.
Okay.
I didn't see that coming.
Me either. That was pretty epic.
It's time to see what's next.
All right. What do you guys think about that? Or are you guys hyped up for it? Or, like, okay, so here's my thing. Are we going to have to get the PlayStation 5 to see Unreal Engine 5? My first
Yes,
guess is,
probably,
I mean,
but
really?
at the same time, probably not. I imagine that like I imagine that any game studio will be able to like
Like
use it.
license it, right? Like,
Yeah,
there's plenty of games across the board that use Unreal Engine. So my guess is like, why would it be exclusive to the PS5? I would
yeah. I
also
don't
like to
think it
play
will
that
be.
game. Yeah, let's see here.
Yeah, I 100% want to play that game. I don't know what it is, but I want to play it. And for our next topic, moving on, I suppose. But before we move on, what are some of you guys' favorite games that you've played before? Context, maybe? Not sure. Look, man, just because I wouldn't finish it doesn't mean I don't want to play it. I enjoy playing games. Finishing them isn't my forte. But yeah, favorite games. What's some of you guys' favorite games that you've played? I already know what CJ is going to say, but you know what? We'll have him put them anyway. I'm curious what some of Lordo's favorite games has been. If Billup's still listening, I'd love for him to put some input in as well. I'm curious because he's talked about a lot of games. So yeah, your favorites. Like, what's some of your favorite games that you've played? Because you always talk about a bunch of different ones, but I don't think you've ever actually like come right out and said, "Oh, these are my favorites."
No. I actually have not played Mass Effect.
Cody, that's something that we're going to stream. Then we're going to make you play Mass Effect,
Yeah.
or we're going to stream it. Someone's going to play it because the Mass Effect games are fantastical.
Well, I don't want to say I've never played it. I want to say I haven't played it a lot. Like, I've played maybe a mission in Mass Effect 3 or 2, one or the other. I don't remember exactly.
Castlevania's cute. I love the
Oh
Castlevania games.
man,
They are fantastic.
are you Half Life? I thought was pretty cool. Didn't play uh, Super Metroid. I didn't play that. Castlevania. I have such a lovely experience playing that game. I played the Xbox 360 version on my Xbox One probably about this time last year, and similar to Dante's Inferno, whenever I got that from the Xbox Live free game kind of thing, once I started playing it, I did not stop until I finished the game. I did not stop playing Castlevania, and it was very awesome. And honestly, there's a Castlevania show on. Let me see if I can. I mean, I can't tell you right now. I'll definitely message you on Discord about it. Because I just can't pull up my game library while the stream's up currently. And can you do that on your Xbox app, Kyle?
I don't think so.
Hold on, let me just see if I can. Xbox 360 Castlevania.
I don't know how many there is. Symphony of the Night is always going to be my favorite Castlevania. Always. It is
Okay,
a
so
masterpiece.
let's see. Yeah, it was Lord of Shadows. Yeah, it was Lord of Shadows, and I thought that game was amazing. Like the kind of platformy, but also not. Like, hold on, see if you know it by the image. Yeah, killed it. Honestly, it kind of makes me want to go play it again.
You want to play the older one? I so I own both of them, and I've always wanted to play them just to see how they differ from the really old ones in terms of like I guess story that they had and stuff like that. Obviously, I know, dude. Symphony of the Night it's oof, it's amazing. I'm definitely gonna have to play. I'm definitely gonna have to play that at some point though. The Lords of Shadow, just to give
Yeah.
it a try, just to try it out.
Yeah, I'll definitely pick that up. I'm guessing that would be Xbox Live as well, more than likely.
Yeah, it should be in the Game Pass.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably honestly I'll look at that after the stream. But yeah, so also if you guys are Castlevania enthusiasts, I would recommend the show on Netflix. Has anybody heard of that?
NetHack. Well, what is that? Dude, okay, so I love Halo. I absolutely love the Halo games. I really, really do. And I'm an Xbox person, so Halo's definitely there, but like in terms of favorite games, I can't say that it's like I can't say it's one of my favorite favorites. Um I love the story to them and stuff like that, but the more of them they make, like the older ones, like if we're talking like the first one all the way up to like ODST or and Reach and stuff like that, I don't know, that'd be tough. But like just overall, I've always been a huge Final Fantasy fan. I love the Final Fantasy games, and I love the Pokemon games. And um, in terms of just games that I played more, I definitely got to say that probably Final Fantasy, Pokemon, Zelda,
Zelda's
uh,
pretty nice.
the Forza games.
I've never been much
I
on
love,
racing.
dude, I love racing games. Car games are my ish. I love them.
See, like
I might have to look up that hack though. That's
here,
interesting.
here's the thing. Um, I liked Halo mostly for multiplayer. The story was awesome. My favorite was probably Halo 2 or 3. For both multiplayer and for the campaigns. Now, me personally, I find the most enjoyment in games that are standalones. So like, you know, nothing like, I love like Link to the Past or Majora's Mask and stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I haven't played Breath of the Wild. Really want to pick it up, but I like standalone games like Dante's Inferno. I mean, I know that there's like 3 Dead Spaces, but Dead Spaces are awesome. Like, really, really good games, in my opinion. Bioshocks are also a trilogy, or honestly, I know there's more. There's 4 of them. So that they have, they're not standalone games, but they're awesome. But like Dante's Inferno, the Castlevania stuff, that where they kind of like they don't come out with games consecutively. At least I haven't seen it. I mean, I know they have multiple games, but yeah. So like, let's just say that if there was a Dante's Inferno 2, which there were rumors about back whenever the game actually came out, but I'm pretty sure all that's dead and gone. Oh man, like I could play that game over and over again. It's just really, really great. And I haven't really delved into Castlevania games. Like I said previously, the that game that I showed on stream is awesome. Uh, I really kind of got a kick into the Castlevania world or lore from the Netflix show that they came out with. That kind of kick-started me. Like, I knew it was a thing. I just didn't really look into it, and then that kind of like made me go into it. So I really I look forward to checking out some more Castlevania games, honestly. And honestly, like with the new graphics, like imagine a Castlevania game on Unreal Engine 5.
That would be amazing. I'd love that.
The only like demon game that I really haven't gotten into, probably Bayonetta. I never really got into Bayonetta. What about you? Have you ever
Um,
played Bayonetta?
I haven't, but I want it. I'd like to try it someday though.
Yeah, I tried. Just very, like, it's pretty much like a hack and slash with fake breasts, and that's the game.
Nice.
Yeah, which I mean, it's whatever. Just not my cup
So,
of tea, personally.
so moving on into another gaming topic, which I will drop the link down below. Um, so basically, what's happened here is for all you people out there that like, RTS games, such as Command and Conquer and Halo Wars and whatever else you fancy.
Really like
EA
Halo
has
Wars.
decided to open the source to Command and Conquer, allowing you to create whatever kind of mod you want. And apparently, they're planning to release a 4K remaster of the classic PC strategy game,
Mm-hmm.
which I would love. I don't know if they're going to do all of them. I don't. It doesn't really say. It just says the PC remaster, the classic PC strategy games. I assume all 3 of them. I would love that. Apparently, they're also going to be made, or the Command and Conquer Tiberian Dawn is actually going to be made free to play through this. So anyone will be able to download it and play it, and you'll be able to have it for your own modding pleasure if you're into coding and stuff like that. they are planning to release the remaster for the games on whatever games they're going to do on June 5th. It says, actually, it does say, it says Tiberian Dawn and Red Alert, both of them June 5th. I don't know if it'll be coming to console or not. That's not something that it says, actually. I'll have to look into that later.
Something pretty
And
interesting is before you even mentioned this topic, I was playing, or I loaded up Steam earlier. I was going to play some CS for the first time in a while, and lo and behold, this is the first thing that popped up. And I know we had somebody in our chat not too long ago talking about Command and Conquer. So just for this reason, I would like to say that, yeah, I might be looking into grabbing this, and that would mean that we'd be able to play some Command and Conquer for our streams. Let's go ahead and give this a small listen.
Efforts have landed us here, my faithful friend. The temple is complete, and we are about to
See,
embark upon
personally,
our
the
greatest
reason why I'd
exploit.
like to watch
You're in
this
for one hell of a ride.
is I've never played a Command and Conquer
Hey
game.
everyone, it's Jim Vasella, aka Jim Turn, and I'm pleased to take you through this official look at the Command & Conquer Remastered Collection, featuring the complete games of Tiberian Dawn and Red Alert, along with their 3 expansion packs.
Oh. So you get all of
Released
the...
in 1995, Command
you
&
get
Conquer
everything.
defined the RTS genre.
But we need your help now.
Today, I'm going to take you through the complete package that players will experience, from the gameplay to cinematics, music collaborations, and bonus features. But let's start with the community's incredible support.
Nice job.
In addition to the amazing teams at Petroglyph Games and Lemon Sky Studios, including some of the key members of the original Westwood team, we knew we couldn't remaster these iconic games without you, the community. On day 1 of the project, we publicly reached out to the community for your feedback. We formed a community council who has had 24-hour direct access to the development team throughout the entire project. And some community members
wish all
have
game
even created
developers
some
would
of the
do
key
that.
content that will be in the final game.
I agree.
CNC and Red Alert have been fully remastered to run at a beautiful 4K resolution. Every unit and structure has been rebuilt. We've even created a feature in solo mode, allowing you to toggle between the legacy and remastered graphics in real time.
That's
in addition
awesome.
to the over 100 original campaign missions, we've also included the Spec Ops missions from the console versions and other secret treats. Based on community feedback, we've completely overhauled the sidebar UI and created new flows for mission selection, controls, hotkeys, and much more. CNC's signature full-motion video cinematics have all been upscaled in resolution and feature newly remastered sound for the optimal experience.
You're the new addition to the Brotherhood.
In addition to the campaigns, the multiplayer has been entirely rebuilt for a modern experience. Choose from custom games or 1v1 quick match, all with an ELO-based matchmaking system.
So what do
and
you guys
in-game
like?
leaderboard.
Do you think this is definitely a buy?
The
Let's see here.
CNC and
I
Red
do.
Alert sound
Yeah, let's see here. It's coming out. Okay, so this is $20. You get 3 games and all the DLCs. Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the wish list. I'll come back to that in just a moment. So, what do you guys think about that? Definitely, that's Mixon says defo. So, I mean, hey, I hope you guys will enjoy the game and come and check out the streams that we'll have together. I'm sure that we'll get some rage out of it. What do you guys think?
Dude, I'm actually going to buy this. Like, I've got $26 on my account. I'm going to pick it up. Command and Conquer is actually my favorite RTS game ever made. I love them. They have really good stories to them and everything else. Specifically the third one, Tiberium Wars. I absolutely loved Tiberium Wars. It was, fantastic games. And yeah, we'll definitely have to pick that up to play on stream.
Being sold by EA, no good for you.
Oh, come on, Philip. You can look past it for the goodness that is Command and Conquer. Like, I get that EA's not a light company, but come on, man.
Definitely.
Command and Conquer is amazing. It really is. I would 100% vouch for it just because I know how good the game is. And I can't wait to get my hands on this. It's going to be just, ooh, yes, please.
Mhm.
Please.
Definitely. So on to another lighter topic. Yeah, but you can't pirate them at 4K.
Is it coming to console?
I'll check that out. Is remastered Command and Conquer coming to console?
Question. While he looks it up, I'm not really sure if it is or not.
I would imagine.
I'd like to say that it is. It comes out, like I said, June 5th is when it drops. So I can't actually. I don't know where my Xbox controller's at. Surprise, surprise. But anyone that has their Xbox nearby could, in fact, go check and see.
So, the University of Google says Command and Conquer remastered PS4. EA is said, and it has not said anything about it yet. The most recent game is Red Alert back in 2009. Yeah, so currently I don't know if it's going to be available at launch. Let's see here. A modern PC, the remastered collection spruces up the original property on a modern PC, UI 4K. Steam or Origin, 2 physical editions are being created. 25th anniversary. Yep, I'm not sick. Jesus Christ. A Metal Tank Mammoth replica. Alright, so as of now, I'm not seeing it. So we could probably look for it in the future. But as of right now, I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, although I did play Halo Wars, the original one, on console first, and now I have Halo Wars 2 on PC. I originally played Civ 6, maybe. No, not 6. That's the newer one. Civ 5, I think, or Civ 4 on Xbox 360, whichever one was on Xbox 360. And then I've recently gotten that for, I've gotten 5 at least for Steam on PC, on Steam for PC. And I would say definitely RTS games are better on a computer, 100%. I back that.
I don't know. I don't know. I have my mixed opinion on that because I've played plenty of RTS on a console and I've not had any issues out of them. Like, I feel like that's just nitpicking. It makes big renaissance in the gaming industry.
Okay, so hear me out. Like, I get it. There's a bunch of sci-fi shit that has, really piqued my interest. Like, one thing, like, I don't know which episode it is of Rick and Morty, but where they put the helmet on, they pretty much go and live an entire life in VR, and it feels like that long and shit like that. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be that convoluted, but my next big thing is making it both. And I'm saying this, like, not saying that's not already a thing, but making it available to the masses. The whole, like, human trackpad kind of thing, where you have, like, a thing that you can walk on that will, like, make you walk in the game and have, like, full, like, motion trackability and fully submerge yourself. Like, what I would like to see is something where you could throw on a vest, you could stand on top of, like, a movable, something similar to a treadmill or something like that. You have your little gun thing. I remember when those things came out for PlayStation 3, I had the little, Killzone guns that you could, like, aim and play multiplayer and whatever with. Like, something that would be, like, 1,000 times better than that. But something where you could put on this little vest, and let's say you get shot in the chest or something, you actually, like, you don't feel like the bullet, of course. You're not going to die, but you feel like a hit. Like, maybe it vibrates or something. Like, that would be fucking awesome. Like, all I'm saying is that gamers would never be called fat again. Like, I would be playing that all day, every day. Like, I'd be playing some comp. And, like, I don't know. Just be so cool. Like, motion capture, yeah, like, kind of like a better Kinect and a full body capture suit. Yeah, like some. Because, I mean, hear me out. If they have the technology to have full body capture for animation, why the hell could they not scale that up for a real-time full body capture and have that in a multiplayer game? Now, would you have to have a green room in your house to play it? That's one of the things that we'd have to work out. But something like that, I feel, would be able to happen. Maybe not this year, but I feel like within the foreseeable future for most of us. Like, I would say before, let's shoot it before 2030. I think that something similar to that concept is going to definitely be a thing. Um, but to better answer your question, I feel like the renaissance of gaming is going to continue into the virtual reality or augmented reality section. I know that thing kind of died off, and at least in my opinion. Like the Oculus came out like a while back, and everybody was shitting over it. And then now I don't really hear a lot about new stuff in virtual reality. Just surfing through forums or whatever. But I definitely think that something new and crazy is going to happen, and that's the way we're going to go is augmented reality.
So, obviously, I'm not trying to cross topics, but the other podcast that I do, shout out to BS Back in the Shed. Woo! But anyway, on that podcast, we talked about how PS5 is going to have controllers with the motion sense technology inside of it and stuff like that. So I wonder if we're going to get not necessarily motion sense, but like 4D feelings in the controllers. So I wonder if like that's where we're going to be headed going forward, like with like just in general with the technology. Like I wonder if we're going to be able to like buy these like gaming rigs that we get inside of, and it immerses us in the game. Like we jump inside of like water and stuff like that, and like we can feel the water like maybe mist or something like that, or like the surround sound in the room and stuff, set it up that way, and like we'll get 4D experiences out of the games going forward with that kind of technology if it goes well with the controller.
Yeah, I mean, they do that for 40 movie theaters. I don't know why. I mean, the only thing is the maintenance. Like, you'd have to fill up your water reservoirs. You'd have to make sure that, and that thing would probably, like, have so much power. Like, it would take so much power. But imagine, like, back whenever I was younger, I used to go to a place. It was called Camp Defiance. And it was a gaming center. Crazy good idea for the time. So, these people, it was a family. They bought maybe 30 Xboxes, about 10 PlayStations, and about 6 computers, like PC gaming ready computers at the time. And they were just like, okay, all these people can come into my building and play all the crap ton of games. Like they had like one of each game for every console they had for both platforms. Like it was crazy. Like they probably sunk, a good damn penny into it, but $5 an hour. And you could come play, or you could buy like a day pass for so much money. And I used to go there pretty much every day after school for the long. I mean, I had my own console, but it was just a good way to, go out somewhere. They sold snacks, they sold drinks. It was just kind of a community thing, and it was something I was available to do in my younger age. And like, just imagine a place like that, just built with the augmented reality booths. Like I would imagine it'd be something similar to like a little. Like a cube that could fit one person comfortably, or maybe even splurge for the bigger thing and maybe be like a room that looked like a racquetball room. Like my college I go to, we have racquetball courts or whatever inside the gym, and that shit looks like it would be an augmented reality room. Like the walls are all white. You'd go insane if you went in there and stayed for about a day. Like yeah, like imagine like just gaming centers around the world having that kind of shit. Like crazy.
That does sound extremely expensive. I'll give it that. But man, the possibilities are endless if that kind of technology does take off. I would love to see, you know, I would love to see something like that happen. But you never know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that something like that would happen. I mean, yeah, like okay, so that is a good point. That is exactly what I was thinking about, Lordo. Um, that could bring back the age of the arcade. Honestly, like, okay, hear me out. What if they found a way to augment reality to where we could fit, so many people, maybe like 20 or so people, into a really big room space where everybody'd have headsets and stuff to interact with their environment inside of the game. And you know how like Wii Fit has like the motion capture for the controller or something, or VR chat, you can do pretty much the same thing with like your environment. You can talk with the little wands, or you can talk and then you can move shit with the little wands. So like have an 80s themed augmented reality arcade, like for the nostalgia purposes. Like you walk into this room, you put your shit on, they turn it on. You're in an arcade. You can mess with like these arcade machines like in real time, and you can play like all these old school like 80s games with all these people and pretend like you're in the 80s. Like I get it. It'd be a stretch, but I think for nostalgia purposes, or 80s or 90s, I guess. But I think for nostalgia purposes, that would be crazy. Like that would be really cool. I would like to experience that, and I wasn't even alive during that time. So like, I mean, there's still in my home, well, not my hometown, but in around my hometown, there's still one arcade that's open to my knowledge that actually has like full, like set up games, like box games or whatever they're called, cabinet games, and they're coming back. I know that most WalMarts now sell them for like $100 or whatever. You can build them, and they're little tiny cabinet games. But definitely, like something like that would be mind blowing in my opinion. I think that would be crazy. And then of course, like having like a laser tag thing. Like I definitely think of like I think it was American Dad. They had an episode where Steve, one of the main character's son, he was an augmented reality. That where he could pretty much use his hands as guns. He would point his hands at somebody, and they'd be like guns for laser tag. And if you shot somebody, they were dead. They had to take their suit off or their headset off, and they went away. It'd be awesome.
So, going to the let's see, going on with like this whole topic, uh, this right here is something that really piqued my interest, and now like the reason I want to add this in with the current topic is because we have, we're talking about this like technology to give you like this 4D kind of experience, and these guys claim they're making a Doctor Who game. And I would love to see like universes like Doctor Who and Star Wars and maybe Lord of the Rings and stuff like that with a 4D esque attachment to them. Like, could you imagine getting into the TARDIS and like getting some sort of like weird effect of like actually like traveling through the time and stuff like that, and then or like stepping out like on a planet in Star Wars and like being able to feel the heat from the different suns of the planets and stuff like that, and just the endless possibilities are amazing. I feel like Doctor Who being a really big topic and Star Wars being a really big subject, stuff like that. I feel like these kind of games, if gamers was to really stop and think about the possibilities from like super big things like that,
Yeah, I mean that'd be awesome. It says it's coming to PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Nintendo Switch as well, and another form of the game for mobile devices even. So I mean that'd be pretty cool. We know from feedback that fans of the shows like Doctor Who and Peaky Blinders crave new and exciting experiences across multiple devices and interwoven stories that create an overall experience far surpassing that of a single game. That would be cool. All I'm saying, I don't know if anybody here watches Peaky Blinders. I like Doctor Who. I think I stopped at season 4. I probably should pick that back up. But Peaky Blinders, if they made a game about that, like I love the old Mafia games. Oh, you would not see me playing anything else for a long time. I'm not gonna lie. Especially if it was multiplayer. That'd be crazy. That'd blow my mind. Okay, so sorry, we digressed a little bit. There is, let's see here. Finally got it to
Hey
work.
Luke, glad
Hey,
you was able to
Lucas.
finally tune in, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. Sorry that you were having such an issue, bud.
Star Trek. So, Star Trek is.
Okay, so hear me out.
I've never really seen Star Trek. I don't really know much about it, but I know the fans are crazy over it. So, like, for any Star Trek fans out there, what about it do you really like, and what about it do you really enjoy?
Oh man, I just want to mess with the Force. Or wait, I'm sorry, you didn't say Star Wars, Star Trek. I would like to be able to command my own ship and be like, beam me up, Scotty, or some shit like that. Like I want to be like, all right, let's go. Let's go this place. Let's hit warp drive. Fucking see some weird shit. Like I'd want it to be kind of like a I don't know. It's very very hard for me because I would say I want it to be an MMO RPG, kind of like in space, and then the first thing that comes to mind is of course what's that game that promised that, but it was a trash can. Uh, the Space Engineer? No. What's the game that promised multiplayer but didn't have it? They got sued for it.
No Man's Sky.
Yes. Like that's the first thing I kind of thought about, but like imagine that if it was good and well, I'm sorry, it probably is better now, but imagine that if it was amazing and you had 100% had like 100% control over your environment, multiplayer, like everybody could like come to your ship instead of having to like worry about finding people. You could just teleport, you could teleport to each other's ships across the star system or some shit like that. Pretty cool. But there is one thing that I would like to show you. You mentioned racing simulators, and this is something that is pretty cool that I think would be awesome if everybody could, one, afford it, and two, it was available to the masses. Like, I don't even know where the hell I would buy this thing, but this is probably going to be a little loud. But like, imagine if we could just have shops or, like, have this in your garage or something, like, if you had the room. Like, look at that motion. Definitely, like, I imagine, like, the Star Trek game would have crazy amounts. So, I mean, there's so many fucking episodes of Star Trek that it would have to have, like, a crazy amount of stuff to do. Try to get the original voice actors, the one that are still alive, to come and do some of the real characters. You could do missions for them or something. I could definitely see it as an RPG, though. I just look at that hydraulic movement, like, that's crazy good. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just crazy to me. I mean, I'm not even a racing guy. Like, I don't like car games, personally. Like I said, I don't like games where you can't get out of the car and you have to just drive. Like, that's just not my cup of tea, but damn, I'd play that, That'd be where I take out all my road rage. But definitely, I definitely think that would be cool to have something like that. I mean, would you say that would just be like a simulator, or would you say that'd be some form of augmented reality?
Tough call. I'm not really sure.
Because I mean, really, you're gonna be in your house. You're not necessarily augmenting your reality, but you are feeling the dynamic changes within the game. So really, I'd say that might be on the bench. I don't know, but either way, that right there is honestly kind of a testament to what I was talking about earlier about the new renaissance. Is like shit like that is gonna just become better and cooler and just like crazy cool. And I'm all here for it, honestly. If you guys are interested, and I'm not saying that we have unlimited pockets here at Classy Gentlemen, but if you guys ever, want to take out a second mortgage or something, well, I don't know how much it is, honestly, but that link I just posted in chat is actually somebody building their own racing simulator, and they're going to include the cost of parts. So if you want to check that out after the stream, maybe something you'd look into. See, that is one thing. That's one thing I've really missed from MMORPGs. There's not, to my knowledge, and I don't have very broad knowledge of the topic, but to my knowledge, I have not played an MMORPG where you are directly affected dynamically with politics. Now, that being said, I know that there's politics involved in Skyrim behind the scenes if you actually listen and read all the lore about it, like why things happen, where the Jarl came from, stuff like that. But, like, imagine a game, or MMORPG rather, where, reigns end and the politics are so dynamic and you or other players or a faction of players are in direct like you're in direct effect of that policy change or that politic change. I just think that'd be cool. Like I think of the factions in ESO Online whenever you played the Sentinel, I believe is what it was called. You just have a massive group of people in a faction, and then they want to just take over this pretty much town, and then they're run by the politic or the faction, and then they are the enforcers, and then another faction come in and then take that over or whatever. I just think that'd be kind of interesting and probably be a very toxic game, to be honest with you. Kind of reminds me of like playing Rust in my early days.
So, with that note, as we get ready to swap topics, in terms of I guess MMORPGs and stuff like that, what's some of your favorite MMORPGs that you guys have played? Drop them down below, and while you guys are doing that, I think we're going to jump into this topic here that I just dropped down below. So, the UK has actually enacted this law. It went into effect today, actually. Well, not UK necessarily, but England itself specifically, and or whatever, they essentially have made it so that it's forced organ donation, and you have to actually go in and opt out of it. Otherwise, everybody is considered an organ donor when they die. And unless you go in and actually, say, "Hey, I don't want to do this. Or I don't want to opt into it," then you're when you die, your organs will. They claim that they are doing this to save more lives going forward, and I definitely see it as an interesting thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's interesting that it's like they're changing it to where everybody is opted in and they now have to opt out instead of it being the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way, like, apparently, in order to actually get this changed, you have to go to whatever website it is, and you like where I guess you're registered. You have to register for it. And you have to essentially tell your family and your friends what your decision has been in case I guess you die. They can come to them and they can say, yeah, this is what he wanted. And you register your decision on there, and you have to essentially opt out of it. If you did not actually go and decide to do this, you're automatically considered a organ donor, and when you do die, then your organs will be taken for those purposes if they're usable.
Before we talk about our stances and get the chat stances, there is a small video if you guys are interested. I'm interested to see because it looks like it's framed from England's perspective, so I want to just kind of see really quick, exactly what how they say. Yeah, it does remind me of that movie. I just could not rename the Repo movie. And is there a game of that? I don't know. I know that there was the movie. I watched the movie. It's pretty crazy. But let's check this out
Every
really
day
quick.
across the UK, someone dies waiting for an organ transplant.
That is true.
So, from spring 2020, the law around organ donation in England is changing to help save and improve more lives. You will still have a choice if you want to be an organ donor or not when you die. You can choose to opt in or opt out by recording your decision on the NHS Organ Donor Register. Recording your decision on the NHS Organ Donor Register and telling your family what you want are the best ways to help ensure your decision is honoured. Once the law has changed, it will be considered that you agree to be an organ donor when you die, if you are over 18 and you have not opted out and you are not in an excluded group. So you could go on to help patients in need of a transplant. Your family will still be consulted about organ donation. Any questions about the organ donation process will be addressed, including how your faith, beliefs, or culture will be respected. So, remember, whatever you decide, make sure to let your family and friends know. To find out more about your choices and to record...
Okay. So, first take on this personally. Many people in America and around the world die waiting on organ donor lists. That's definitely a big fact. My question is, does this infringe on your rights? No, and not my opinion. But that would just be my opinion. Can you opt out at any time? That'd be a good question. Or once you turn 18, I would imagine before you're 18, you're not allowed to donate your organs. You would just be, you would be automatically opted out. Um, Personally, I don't have any issues with this law because just think about it. Let's say that I'm on my deathbed, or my one of my parents, or my parent or a grandparent or something like that is on their deathbed, liver failure, something like that. They could get a better organ if this thing was enforced. That would be amazing. This thing is definitely going to save lives, and it does give me that whole repo vibe whenever I first read it. But I mean, just actually sitting down to think about it rationally. I mean, why aren't we doing this everywhere? I mean, in my opinion, the only argument against it would be they're my organs. I want to be buried with them. I mean, you're not gonna fucking use them whenever you're dead, right? Like, why would you be upset about this? Especially if you could just help people. Like that would be honestly almost automatic assurance that you're helping save somebody's life.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that it's interesting that people are just now deciding to make such a thing, take into effect, and we're just now deciding to do this. I feel like it should have been a thing a while back because it's like Doc said, it's a fantastic thing. You do have the option to you can't opt out at any time. You just have to go to the you just have to let your family and your friends know, and you have to go to the website and you have to register and let them know that you're choosing to opt out of it. But yeah, I agree. It definitely should be a choice, and you can opt out at any moment. But um,
I would imagine that something maybe in the works. This is another thing. Like somebody, let's see, Lordo said that it could be misused very easily, and that is something definitely. Everything in policy and law that I've learned through my time as a pre-law student can be used to manipulate and pretty much screw up a good thing. So my thing is, you know, why? I mean, yeah, it is sentimental. You're dead. You don't need it. I mean, that's definitely like something that I think, you know, if you have organs that somebody else can use to live, that's good. That's a good thing, in my opinion. To help somebody in need. And should you be able to opt out if you just don't want to? Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that you're forced to. However, I think that this might be able to be monopolized. So, we have people that are sitting on the organ donor register lists, people that die on that list because it takes so long. They might be so far below the people that are at the top. So, how could that be monopolized? Well, we could say that maybe the price of the operation should go skyrocket because we'd be having more operations. The demand for them would go up. Like it's not every day that, I mean, I guess it is every day. That everybody has open heart surgery, but I feel like that number would go the fuck up. Like I just don't know.
yeah, it's definitely it's definitely everybody's choice.
Yeah.
Whether or not you want it. I personally would probably. I mean, if my organs are usable when I'm dead, I'd probably let them have them. Unless for whatever reason my family themselves didn't want it to happen. I don't really know. I can't really think of a reason as to why I would need them going forward, unless for whatever reason, like 5 months down the road, I fucking pop back up alive again for some unknown reason, and I'm still intact the way I was when I died. I'd probably want them then, but if I'm dead, I'm dead.
And see, here's another thing. Like, will this slow research on both stem cell? I think if I remember correctly, there's been stem cell research. There's been, animal transplants, of course, and there's also been like sort of like dabbling in 3D printing actual organ flesh. So would this slow that down, or would it just kind of like give them time to get a necessary system in place to be able to do it? And yeah, in an ideal world, everyone would be fully informed. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like that. That's the big thing. And would criminals have a choice in this? Okay, so one thing that I can attest for is once you're in the federal system, you do give up a lot of your individual rights. And this is for America. that I don't have knowledge internationally about this. So and I'm taking a lot of liberty when I talk about this. But um, so let's say that you're federally charged for a crime in America. You forfeit your law for you pretty much forfeit your Second Amendment right and your right to vote in most states, and countless other laws or countless other protections from the government. You have to, like, parole. You have to give away your privacy for an X amount of time. When you're incarcerated, you have to give up your freedom. So that's that. But my thing is, would you automatically have to give up your right to deny organ donations? Not sure. Realistically, I would say that would be a little bit too far. I would say that if they take your position, if they take a position of yours to like away to what you want your body to be treated as after you die, I feel like that's taken away more than just your rights given by a country, but that's taking away your natural rights. So, there is there, and then plus, think about it, like, let's say a prison guard has a mother that's in need of a liver. That'd be a lot of incentive for him just to not, just to look the other way while some other prisoners shanked and killed somebody, And I mean, prison guards are already underpaid and overworked, so honestly, that'd be more room for corruption right there if there wasn't some way to allow them to opt out, in my opinion. But
Yeah, I definitely don't think that this should just be a law that's been sprung up on people. I definitely think that it should be one of those things where it's like they should definitely have informed the people better, and they should definitely talk about organ donation a lot more and the benefits of being an organ donor. But I definitely don't think that it should just up and be like, hey, you're dead. We're taking this off of you, because that is just so wrong.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's pretty crazy. So, like, if you guys are interested, I just checked out the website. So this is where you'd go. English organ donation. If you need an organ transplant, would you have one? So yeah, I mean, it's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of slanted towards making you feel guilty if you do that. So, like, if you needed an organ transplant, would you have one? Question mark. So, like, you know, um, really just, I'm curious about the whole belief section. That's what I was thinking. Select your faith or belief system for guidance and advice. So I mean, I would imagine that maybe Islam would have something to say about that. Transplant. Islam, there's a number. Religious etiquettes regarding organ donation. I mean, providing. So, like, it's not really giving you a yes or a no whether or not ethically that religion would be able to do this. So yeah, I'm feeling like this is very one-sided. So, and yeah, of course, like, it stopped me from going and hitting a dude with an O blood type. Yeah, that is true. I mean, you wouldn't really know what their blood type was unless you just kind of like, hey man, let me sample that blood, give it a sniff real quick, and then put it in my blood type machine, But I mean, I guess if you
knew the person personally, and
fuck, dude, I've known you for 4 years. I don't know your blood type. I mean,
I don't even know my blood type.
I don't even think if I grab somebody's social security number, I don't think I could find their blood type. I mean, I could steal their identity, but I don't know if that's like a thing that you can just get. Like, I would like to think that medical records are something that you can't really just grab very easily anyway. But I don't know. That's definitely a good point that you bring up in that. But I don't know. It's just very, like, after visiting this website, like, I was actually just trying to find some arguments against this thing because I was wanting to kind of play the devil's advocate. I feel like, and one thing I want to give you guys is if you tune into this podcast, I will definitely do my best to be as non-biased. I will give my opinions on certain topics, but I think it is very important to give both sides. Because, if you only seen one thing in one way your entire life, then you're blind in both ways, in my opinion.
What if I'm the dude's doctor? Yeah, that would definitely change it a lot. If they, being a doctor would definitely help you get a hold of them records really easily.
I mean, right now I'm a voluntary. Oh wait, I think I just had a dumb. I'm voluntarily an organ donor, personally, but that's just because, like you guys, or like Lordo, um, I'm okay if I'm dead and my heart still works. Is my well, obviously it wouldn't still work in my body, but if I'm dead and my heart's still intact enough to help somebody survive that's had a couple of heart attacks, and I would feel better if that went to something and it wasn't just rotting. But that is, again, like I said, I'm happy to share my opinions with you guys. I'm 100% aware that my opinions aren't always correct, to everybody, and I encourage you guys to have discussion in the comments. This is a very open-ended podcast, and that's the way I really would like, or we would really like to keep it, rather. Just to have a very nice discussion and keep all the hate and the bias to the side as much as possible. But coming to a little bit less of an ethical stance, something that I am kind of interested in, just because I think that this is a very interesting topic, or not topic, I'm sorry, a very interesting just idea. Let's see if I can find this. Let's see here. Okay, so this article, let's see here. Single line, keep it classy, and all opinions matter. Yep, there we go.
So what have you got coming up for us, Cody?
Okay, so this article is coming from Deadline, and this is, like I said, one of my favorite actors. Seth Rogen has pitched a movie and has gotten funding from HBO to make a movie called An American Pickle. What is in this movie, you might ask? That's a great question. So this is starring, like I said, Seth Rogen. I believe that he wrote this as well, if I'm not mistaken in my research. But so evidently, an American Pickle, with the Seth Rogen starring comedy, is a movie from Sony Pictures to HBO Max. It's going to release August 6th. Let's find the actual meat of the article. So it pretty much stars Seth Rogen as a miner, I believe. So it's going to be set in the 1920s, American 1920s, and the immigrant wants to, it's a laborer, I apologize, a struggling laborer who immigrates to America in the 1920s with dreams of building a better life for him and his beloved family. And pretty much he falls into a vat of pickles. He works at a pickle plant or something like that, classic Seth Rogen movie kind of stuff, and is brined for 100 years. So he gets preserved for 100 years in the pickle brine. It preserves him perfectly, and he emerges in the present day Brooklyn, so 2020 Brooklyn from 1920. He finds that he hasn't aged a day, but he seeks out his family. He is troubled to learn that his only surviving relative is his great-grandson, Ben. And he is also played by Seth Rogen. So Seth Rogen's going to play two characters in this movie. And that, I love Seth Rogen, don't get me wrong. But I think that, in my opinion, some movies do this very well, like have the same character playing two characters simultaneously, and some of them are horrible. So, in my opinion, I'm rooting for this because Seth Rogen's really awesome. I loved him in Pineapple Express. I loved him in, actually had a recent movie on Netflix. What was it called? The Madam President, or something like that. Something like that. Let's see here. But Long Shot, my bad. Long Shot. It came out 2019. It's about a he is a campaign manager or something for a person running for the office, presidency, and it's pretty awesome. Um, to be honest with you, This Is the End was probably one of my favorite Seth Rogen movies, and I just thought it was awesome. But anyway, back to the bulk of this. Let's see here. So this is going to be pitched on HBO now. Will it come out to other streaming platforms, or yeah, I guess because of coronavirus, this is why it came there. But it's releasing HBO is branching out. They're releasing 8 to 10 big budget or mid budget movies per year. So in my opinion, this probably is not going to see anywhere outside of HBO for a while, and that might just be good enough for me to get the trial version. But I mean, how do you guys feel about not Eddie Murphy? I just read your comment. How do you guys feel about Seth Rogen? I mean, I think he's a solid actor. I'd like to see who else is in the movie.
Yeah, I definitely want to see a cast before I make a judgment on the movie itself. But Seth Rogen's had some really funny stuff in the past, and I can usually get a really good laugh or two out of his movies whenever he does do them. And I would, I don't know. I think it'll be funny. I think it'll be funny, but as far as it actually being good, I don't know. We'll just have to see. His movies aren't, to me, they're not a good kind of movie in the sense of they captivate you good. They're good in the sense of they make you go ha ha ha. So
yeah.
I feel like it's going to have to be your cup of tea type of thing. I really want to see the cast. I really want to see who he's going to be working with before I fully decide anything.
Here's a picture this is the immigrant that he's going to be playing from the 1920s. And I mean, here's my take on it. Yes, Seth Rogen, 110%, in some movies is just there to make you laugh. He's just the high dude that goes out and has a crazy night, and this all happens, that all happens, and then, the end of the movie. And you either learn something or you just kind of go home and say, man, how much does that dude smoke? Now, excuse me, what I will say is the long shot. If you guys have a Netflix subscription or have any means to find this movie that I'm not going to condone if they are illegal, worth it. This movie will both make you laugh. Of course, this is the classic Seth Rogen comedy, but it will also give you a very nice insight to a more emotionally driven actor. So, Seth Rogen, I feel like, for me, I feel like Seth Rogen's kind of in this predicament where he's known as the funny dude that gets stoned all the time. I think he's even been on Kimmel and said, dude, I haven't been sober in any of the movies I've made or whatever. But, so, my thing, yeah, Gabriel Iglesias would be pretty cool to do multiple characters. I don't know how he has the voice for it, 10%. Honestly, I feel like Gabriel Iglesias would do a better, what was that? You remember Norbit, where, I think it was Eddie Murphy played, pretty much every character in it, if I'm not mistaken. He'd probably do a better Norbit than Eddie Murphy, in my opinion. But I feel like Seth Rogen has backed himself so far into a corner where he's only the funny guy, and now, recently with 2019 Long Shot, and now hopefully with this one, we're gonna see more of a dynamic actor, and that's something that I'm all here for. I love to see the progression of actor's career, and I could not find a trailer for the movie.
Well, I mean, I guess, we'll see going forward. I definitely think so. But this one here was actually something sent in to me by one of the people that is watching us, Erin. I'll never say her name right. I apologize. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. Anyway, she sent me in this one here, and it is about a rare pink manta ray. And the article kind of covers on, why it's pink and, the coloration behind it and how important it is for science and stuff like that. And if you want to grab the article, I'll put it down in chat, Cody, so you can show people, this, because it's actually really pretty.
Yeah.
And manta rays are normally, I believe, they're normally like black or gray, or I think they might have a blue. I'm not 100% sure of all the different colors. Obviously, this is a genetic mutation that caused this. This is 100% a genetic mutation inside of said manta ray that caused this. And I think it's really interesting to see stuff like that, because I believe this isn't the first pigmentation mutation that's happened amongst animals that's caused them to turn pink.
You should say
I
that
can't
5
really.
times fast.
I would rather not. I definitely would rather not. And so let's see, melanin or the pigments. Um, Basically, this is something interesting, just something really interesting that she sent in, and I figured that we would show it off. And it is the scientists do say that it's not from infection, it's not because of its diet or anything like that. So that's definitely good that it is a healthy manta ray and there's not something actually wrong with it, and anything of the sort.
So here's
And
my
it is the
question.
only pink one in the world. And what's that?
My question, and I know that I'm not a marine biologist. I'm not sure if anybody watching is, but I know that flamingos get their pink color because of how many shrimp that they eat.
Mhm.
And you said that this is a genetic mutation. Most of the time in the wild, I mean, I'm guessing this is a wild manta ray. You read the article, correct?
Yeah, it is a wild one.
Okay, so in the wild, most genetic mutations happen because it's something that helps the animal survive better in their environment. So my question is, what caused this mutation to happen? Like, what makes the adaptability of this manta ray better as being pink? And also, what would would their offspring also, like, do I need to draw a Punnett square? Like, is this going to be a dominant gene? Like, are we just going to start seeing pink manta rays in like 20 years whenever this OG just like starts having kids like crazy? Like, I just think personally that this is a pretty interesting find. Like, and thank you. I'm going to call you Irene because that's how I read that. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I just think this is a really cool find. Thank you for submitting it to us, and yeah, I mean, it's super cool. I think. Now, I don't know. Like, do I think that do I think that this is going to be something that we might see in future generations of different manta rays? Maybe. Like, just because, like, the way that I see it is that genetic mutations happen like kind of 1 in a million kind of thing. Like, it's not like it's going to keep on happening over and over for no reason. But if there is a reason behind it, 10 out of 10. Here's another picture of it, by the way. I think
Yeah, I don't know.
that
It does
I
say
think
in the
that'd be
article
pretty
that
interesting.
it is the only known pink one. It is the only one. So
Yeah, maybe
and
I will 100% give that mutations just happens, just not necessarily because it gives them any type of benefit. But if it's 100% in the wild, I'd like to think that something caused this, just because that's how my brain works. I guess I'm a very it is very cute, not gonna lie. But
it's adorable.
I'm gonna say that something. In my opinion, I want to say something caused this. Now, would this be environmental? Like, maybe something maybe didn't. Maybe this isn't helping it survive because of the life that it lives, but because of how we've affected the habitat that it's in. Could that be the case? Maybe. It's plausible, definitely. Um, but I just think that it'd be interesting to study that. And I mean, I don't know if like, I've always, this is a very cute topic, but like underneath it, I feel like there's a lot more to kind of digest and go into, in my opinion. And I just think that'd be really cool. The Oceanic Society would, look into that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it does say that they do want to study it, like its genes and stuff like that, to see what caused it, because they said that by them understanding what caused it to turn pink could help them understand going forward how manta rays get their coloration, period. And it would be really cool to see more of them pop up. I would definitely think it would be interesting to see this become like a more dominant mutation or dominant trait to happen. I'm not saying that it will, obviously, but that would be really cool, like you said.
And again,
And
on the off chance, instead of being a mutation that could help it, it could be a mutation that might hurt it. Like, I'm looking at this underbelly carriage of it, and it kind of looks like a very pale, dude. So like, would this man Ray get sunburnt?
I don't know.
That's not just like in my understanding, that's flesh, correct?
Yes, that is flesh.
So like, would it just like with that sun, would it get sunburned? Like I know that my ass, I'm white as can be, and I get sunburnt very easily. So, just something pretty interesting to think about.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm glad she submitted it. Thank you for
Yeah.
sending it to us. I really do
thank-
appreciate it.
And Lordo does bring up a really good question. Would maturity have an impact on that? Personally, I would have to say it would have to, because like as you mature, your melanin in your skin start to, decrease. So I would say that, hold on, it might get lighter if that's the case, because the color changing in your skin is caused by melanin, unless the mutation itself is the absence of so much melanin. But then that would just cause it to be an albino, correct?
I'm not sure. I do know that this was, according to the article, this was first spotted back in 2015. So it's been around for at least 5 years out in the waters.
I'm
So,
interested to see another more recent article about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I have to try and maybe find a follow up for next week. Maybe a current article on it for next week's episode.
We'll try to deep dive. So we are nearing the end of our first episode, and it's been great. I'm ecstatic that you guys came out to come hang out with us and to be a part of this portion of the Classy Gentleman channel. And we truly hope that you were entertained, and maybe you guys would like to drop us a follow to see what else we do on this crazy channel, and of course come back next Wednesday for the second episode of the Classicast. However, we are not going to leave you ill-entertained if you have not been thus far. So we have one more thing that I would like to cover with you, and something that I seen, and I automatically had to say, Kyle, we're totally going to play this. It's hilarious, and I don't understand exactly what went through this person's head. But either way, if a side note before we bring that up, if you would like to drop any type of suggestion in the suggestion box down below, it would greatly be appreciated. If you guys want to know any type of, if you guys want us to cover any type of content for the podcast, play any games for our gaming cast that we have 3 days a week, or anything in between, or if you just want to join our Discord, say hey to us, we'll top into some talk channel or voice channels. We'll talk to you. We're very active on that. I know that I log in once a day, every day. Make sure that I reply to all my messages. I like to connect with the community, and that's one thing that the Classy Gentlemen want to do, is just build a nice community, a nice stable community with all of the people that like to come out and talk to us, and we just like to make a big friends group. But without getting too crazy and sappy, I just want to show you this because it made me almost roll. This came from Reddit, and let me just say that this is not mine. This is a repost by Ask the Great on What Could Go Wrong Reddit. So let's give it a play. Kyle skipped my topic.
I didn't skip it.
Oh, you're gonna have to beat him up, CJ. We'll definitely pick that up next week, 100%. Make sure you tab that, Kyle, or just send it to me, CJ, as well.
Yeah, I know what he wants. It's just we run out of time. I promise, CJ, next week we will talk about it. It will be a topic next week. I promise you.
And also, Lordo, Irene, and of course, CJ, you're already in there. But if we have any type of conversation or discussions that you guys want to keep on talking about, 100% more than welcome to come to the Discord, and we'll talk to you all night if you want to. So without further ado, here's a very interesting find. Of course, there's no audio. I thought there was audio.
Shut up, Cody.
Oof. Look at this. Like, she ate shit. Hold on. Like, the reason I thought this was so funny is because actually, a little bit of history. I've done this. I've jumped off of a bridge around my hometown My mother used to do it all the time, and that's what kind of made me want to try it out. Personally, one, I don't know how the hell she went from flip to just kind of like straight up backbuster.
Fuck, that had to
Look at
hurt.
that. No, wait, I think that's a belly flop. Hold up. Like, hold on. I wish I could do frame by frame, but like, look, she's. I think like this is her face looking downward. This is the oh fuck moment where she just does not want anything to do with living, and then she just kind of bam. So like, in my opinion, and plus she has shoes on. Why the fuck would you do that with shoes on? I don't know, but in my opinion,
She had to be winded after that one.
oh
Holy
dude,
fuck.
she probably like I don't know how many. I mean, how many times have you guys belly flopped? Like, I've belly flopped too many times to like count. To be honest with you, and every time I just want to kind of just sit at the bottom of the pool or the body of water and just kind of like not exist anymore. But I think this is oh man, like, and you know, these people had to have understood that like this was not going to go well. Like, you know, like in the beginning right here, I think she looks like both ways. Yeah, she just kind of looks behind her. She's like, oh shit, what did I get myself into? And then that's when she has instant regret. Oh man, yeah. So what's your thoughts on that? Would you jump off of a bridge?
I would jump off of a bridge into water, yes. I would 100% not belly flop like that. I would do everything in my power to keep from just slamming into water like that, because I've belly flopped a few times myself, and man, you got that water just slamming into your like torso, and it kind of just feels like, you you just hitting concrete for a second. It just fucking hurts really bad.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm good. I'm personally good on that one. Just nah.
Oh yeah. Like, and another thing is like, my thing is I've always loved to dive. I mean, I probably wouldn't say that it'd be smart to dive and like off of a bridge unless you knew exactly the depth of the water you were diving in, because that's just not safe. But you know, if I didn't know how deep the water was to just do a face or a head first dive, I would just do like a pencil, you know? Like, why try to complicate things? Like, you know, yeah, it looks cool to do a backflip or whatever off of a bridge, but are you really just going to just take that as an L? I would be interested to see what she looked like after the fact, because Homegirl probably was about as red as a lobster coming up from that.
I was about to say she was looking pretty lobster-esque.
Oh,
She
yeah.
had to. That was. I'm this damn. Nah, I ain't that chief.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you guys for showing up and giving us your support, honestly. And I just want to say one more time that we are going to be doing these Classiest podcasts every Wednesday, 9:30 to roughly 11:30. We're going to try and have a lot of nice topics for you guys. If you have any suggestions, just drop them down below or join our Discord, be a part of the Classy Gentleman community. We are trying to name our Discord the Gentleman's Club, but of course, all sexes are available to join, all 152 of them. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. It really means a lot, and thank you for supporting our channel.
We all also, in addition, if you'd like to come by, we do gaming on here as well every Monday, Wednesday, and
Monday, Thursday.
Well, it's every Monday, Thursday, and Friday with the podcast on Wednesday. I had a brain fart there for a second.
Yep.
So,
and we do have a stream schedule both posted in Discord, on our Instagram, and on Twitch, of course. Sorry. And all of those links will be provided on our Discord page if you'd like. But thank you again, everyone. And once again, please tune in again and just hang out with us, be a part of our community, and remember to stay classy.